Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So the question is, why is Arionne really mad at Melody Shari? We're going to talk about that today. These are my views and my views only. But this was a great question from a new family member. Welcome Nola to the family. We're going to talk about it. But first, my name is Sonia. I am a certified life coach, self-love advocate, and registered nurse here to promote healing so that you can have healthy relationships and date in a safe, healthy manner. I want to thank you for coming to my channel. If you are new, welcome to the family. Thank you for subscribing. And if you are returning, welcome back, family. Thank you for supporting me. Now, let's talk about this. I did a Arionne video and I talked about the lessons we can learn. And this video is going to be a lessons we can learn also. This video really goes over toxic relationships and the cycle that they're in and how a person can create divide. I'm going to read Nola's questions. One of her questions was, does Arionne Curry have a personality disorder? I haven't seen enough of her to really see if I see any signs of one. You guys know I can't diagnose. I know you're not asking me to, but I haven't seen a pattern where I can really pick that up because you do have to see patterns of behavior. I just don't watch her lives or anything. And that's why I saw her interview with Tasha K, and part of that live that she did with Gigi was trying to help her, but I don't know. I could speculate though that there may be some PTSD there, but I don't know. She has been through a lot just in the 7 years with Martell, and I can only imagine what may have happened that made her feel like this relationship is a good choice or a choice that she should make. But I will have to hear more, know more, and see more of her to recognize that. I do think though that there's some PTSD there. I think there's some grieving there. I think there's some immaturity there. And let me just say this, a lot of times when incidents or things have happened to a person, traumatic events have happened to a person in their younger years or whatever age, a lot of times emotionally and mentally, we can stay stuck in that place. So I do think there may be some disorders there, but I don't think they're personality disorder. I'm not sure. I will have to see more of her, and then I can't diagnose. I can only observe behaviors and say that looks like. So I want to make that clear. I don't want to get in trouble. I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm not sure. The next question was her rage, statement, I should say, was her rage towards Melody seems displaced. She and Martell seem to bond over hurting Melody. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. And I wanted to talk about that. So Nola, thank you so much for your awesome questions. Video, let's get started. I think there's a lot we can learn here about just toxic relationships, period. So what I mean by the narcissistic relationship or toxic relationship pattern is, number one, there's the love bombing stage. Love bombing is important for the toxic person for two different reasons. Number one, this is where I groom you and gain your trust, your respect, your admiration, and a lot of times control, right? Because if you come from nothing, if you have nothing, and this person comes in and they're fulfilling all of these needs, because they usually mirror you, and that's important to know. When they find out your weaknesses and they kind of exploit that, what they do is they use their love bombing techniques to get you madly in love with them, or at least get you really invested into the relationship. So they will pour into you all the things that you need. If they know you need a father figure, they'll be a father figure. If they know that you are without financially, they'll meet those needs, whatever your needs are, and then they'll put more on top of it. And I'm going to do some videos on like love bombing and what that really looks like, because I don't want people to become paranoid. I just want you to be informed. And there's a difference. And I think some people are becoming really paranoid. You don't need to do that. It's okay for a person to treat you well. You just got to know what the intentions are. So your goal is to understand the intentions and also be in a place where you love yourself enough that any little thing that someone does for you doesn't mean that they have full, complete control and access of you. So that's kind of like what happens. So you have this young lady, 22 years old. The brain doesn't fully develop until 25, so make note of that. And then also, if a person is emotionally abused, neglected, or something like that, or a traumatic event happens, a lot of times emotionally and mentally they stay that age. So while you continue to grow as a person, mentally you can be stuck in a place of trauma, or at least part of you in some cases can be stuck in that traumatic age. So that's something to keep in mind. And You have this young lady, she's 22 years old. She has this man who in their area is perceived as powerful, wealthy, well-to-do, and handsome, and he wants her, right? He's saying, I'm sure, I don't know, wasn't there, but I'm sure if he was love bombing her, he's telling her about how great she is. All the things that he was telling Melody about this young lady, he was telling her. She even said in her Tasha K video, you know, he was really good to me and we were really good friends, right? So again, you got to remember with narcissism, everything is a facade. Everything is it's a rouge. So be careful. So I'm sure during the love bombing stage, he made her feel like, you know, she's been swept off her feet and the most beautiful girl in the world. And it's unfortunate when you don't feel that way about yourself, but it does happen because some of us just have not been loved properly. Okay. And so she has gotten a new car. He's taking care of her financially. And I'm sure he's telling her, you do everything for me that my wife doesn't do for me. And you're so great and you're making my life wonderful. I also personally believe that he was telling her that she was going to eventually be on the show and that she was a major part of the show. I could be wrong, but that's what I think. And I'm going to tell you why. This goes to my second point. My second point is triangulation. Triangulation is what a technique. It's a manipulative technique that manipulators use to, number one, gain control of the situation. They want the other two people that's involved in their triangle to kind of go against each other. The goal is to pit them against each other so that the toxic person can have control, can spin the narrative, and also that make it so that you two can never come together and collaborate, because if you come together and collaborate, you can find out what the truth is. Everything is about distortion because you have to live in their world. And always remember that you have to live in a world that they created, and they need you to operate how they want you to operate in order for that to happen. Okay. So when you see Martell telling Melody, you know, but she made me happy and she did what you didn't do, she took care of me, that's part of the triangulation. And I'm pretty sure that with Arionne, he was doing the same thing to her. So once the love bombing stage is over and we get into the devaluating stage, then it's, you know, she's smarter than you. You know, she's my wife. She makes my life, you know, she takes care of my kids. She's a great mother to my child, right? So you see how now they're pitted against one another. And that is the goal of triangulation. It's about superiority. It's about control, confusion, and chaos. So now you have the triangulation. Those two are triangled against one another. Then you have grief, okay? Grief comes into play because now she's lost everything. The devaluating and discard stage has set in and she's lost everything. Who in her mind may she think is the reason for all of this, right? Melody, because Melody disrupted the whole fantasy we had going on here. Now he's upset with you and with me. So I'm pretty sure if he is a narcissist that he is now blaming Arionne for everything that's happening, because narcissists don't take accountability. It isn't their fault. It's your fault. It's someone else's fault. So it's Melody's fault because she wasn't doing what she was supposed to do. And now it's going to be Arionne's fault because you shouldn't have called her. You shouldn't have said anything. You shouldn't go on these lives unless I want you to. Unless I'm using you in a moment for triangulation purposes or to upset Melody, you're not supposed to speak out, right? So basically, the players have gotten out of control. And so Martell has to find a way to get back into control. So, but Melody walked away and that disrupted everything. And I'm going to tell you something about love bombing. Love bombing keeps people stuck in relationships so much longer. You know why? People always want to get back to that stage. They hope that they can repair things in that relationship so we can go back to the good times, the times when we were laughing, having fun. You were telling me how great I was and how valuable I was, all these things that I need and I miss. That is what love bombing does. It keeps you stuck because you want to go back to that stage. When I talked about hoovering is when you've been discarded or let go, or you left, and then the toxic person tries to suck you back in, and they oftentimes get people to suck them back in or to tear them down. And this is where we talk about the smear campaign. And that's another role that Arionne plays. She kind of plays along with this smear campaign where she speaks badly about Melody, right? So she is what they would call, could be, all alleged, my opinion, just me talking here, okay? She could be what they call a flying monkey. And I hate that term. So I'm going to use enabler, okay? So what these people do, they believe the narcissist. They want to believe the narcissist, but more importantly, they want to get back to the good times. They want to feel good again. They want all the love and all the gifts and everything that they were getting initially, or they just want peace. You know, when you have some of these families who are recruiting for their toxic family member, a lot of times they just like, I just need you to have someone else to focus on so that we can get peace. And what can happen in this case is that she's helped smearing Melody because she wants her peace back. She wants things to be back to how they used to be, right? Let's get back to the good times. View me this way again. Take care of me like you used to. And that's another thing. Melody holds the cards, it seems, as far as money and everything else. And so now all of that has been disrupted. So there's some frustration there. But because you decided to leave, now, not only do I not have this person anymore, I don't have the lifestyle. And that's where grief comes into play. And in grief, there's a thing called bargaining. In bargaining, there is blaming others, right? So now, because of you, I've lost my man, I've lost my lifestyle, I've lost my bragging rights, I've lost everything that's affiliated with this relationship. And she's also grieving the 7 years of her life, the loss that she's had within the relationship, because there was one miscarriage and one abortion, right? So now everything is gone. And who else better to blame than the person who disrupted this whole game plan? Like, we had a plan here. Every player had their part, and here you go walking away, and now we can't live our lives. Then there's also a role the triangulation played, because I'm sure he was telling her, you know, you can't come on the show because of Melody. And at the love bombing stage, he may have been saying, well, you don't get to come on the show because you're so valuable. Now, again, speculating, I don't know. But now I couldn't be part of the show because of you. I couldn't move forward because of you. I don't have this life I used to have. So she has been manipulated into believing that Melody is the enemy. Another reason is they are trauma bonded. They are bonded over trauma. Okay. They have been through a lot together, allegedly, just my opinion. They've been through a lot together, and she's been on that cycle quite a few times. She's been on that love bomb, devalue, discard, hoover, do it again, right? I believe she's played that cycle so many times, and now things have kind of fallen apart, and he has discarded her most likely more than he ever has before. There's probably the hope that they can get back together, and you know, again, things could be like they used to be. So holding on to possibly getting back together. There's grief. When there's grief, people who are grieving have anger, and a lot of misplaced anger, and they're in denial. And so they rather focus on someone else, sometimes blaming themselves or blaming others. And a lot of times they blame others. And when you grieve, you could grieve any loss. It doesn't have to just be a loss of a person. And she's been with this man for 7 years. That disrupts everything she knows about life because she's been with him for so long, you know. That's an issue. And then we also have, they've been triangulated against one another. So they've been taught not to like one another. And she's basically been molded, in my opinion, to protect him. Had she just, meaning Melody, had Melody just played along and just stayed, we wouldn't be here, you know. He would be happy. And if he was happy, then I'll be treated well again, and I'll be happy. And my life wouldn't be upside down, and I would still have all of the things that I used to have, and I would still have my status, and I would still have my man. And, you know, Although once she heals, if she chooses to heal and do the work and she looks back on it, she'll be able to see. But a lot of times when we're in these toxic relationships, you can't see because there's so much confusion. There's so much confusion and chaos. That's why I don't deal in confusion and I don't deal in chaos. But because there's so much of it, you can't see it. And if you don't have a good support system or a good sense of self, you don't know how to jump out of it and walk away until you absolutely have to. Until you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, you play in this game and constantly hurting yourself. So I think that's why her focus is on Mel. I think Mel disrupted the playhouse by leaving, and there goes the money, there goes the prestige. Then she has to deal with his rage and his anger, allegedly, possibly, if he is a narcissist, because he's gonna blame her. He's gonna blame Arionne for her walking away, for Melody walking away. He won't take that accountability on himself. He's doing it more publicly, but I don't believe he truly believes that it's his fault. Like, so if he is a narcissist, he doesn't believe anything that happened is his fault. He can't believe that, because you got to remember, with a narcissist, they have to be perfect. Check out my video I did on how narcissists are made. Those are my thoughts on why Arionne is mad at Melody and why her rage is geared. Thank you, Nola, for the great questions. If anyone else has any questions, please leave them in the comment section, or you may email me as well. All of my information is in my bio and in the description box below. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Leave some comments. Let me know your thoughts on this video and my analysis of what's happening between the two of them. Please don't forget to love yourself for who you are. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Take care. Bye-bye.